Today we're going to be learning about what makes something alive. Living things are classified into 4 kingdoms: animals, plants, fungi, and microorganisms. An example of an animal is a horse. An example of a plant is a tree. An example of a fungi is a mushroom, and an example of a microorganism is that green slimy stuff on rocks called algae. Before we look into how we classify these things, we need to ask ourselves, what does it mean to be a living thing? Now, are we alive, and how do you know?
We are alive. And I know because we move and breathe and grow.
Brilliant. So scientists actually use a checklist to work out whether something's alive or not. I'm going to explain what this checklist is. If you have any questions about what these things mean, just let me know and I'll explain them further. So first of all, to be alive, it needs to move. Secondly, it needs nutrition. Nutrition, it's for growth, energy and repair. So this is kind of like an apple for us or glucose for a tree. Thirdly, it needs oxygen. It needs water as well. It has to grow. Living things have cells. Cells make up living things and act like little energy producing factories that make up every organ, muscle and everything else. They turn our food into something we can use and multiply or are recycled as we need them. Living things also have DNA.
DNA.
DNA, it's the code that we get from our body, from our parents, that decides how we grow. So essentially it determines whether we're tall or short, if we have brown eyes or blue eyes, etc.
Okay.
The next criteria is senses. Now there's 5 senses. Can you list them?
Sight, smell, hearing, touch, and taste.
That's right. So senses are the way we interpret a stimulus to our eyes, ears, mouth, nose and nerves, just like you said. Living things also reproduce. So reproducing, living things reproduce in order to continue their species after they have died.
Okay.
And expires, living things also expire. This happens when we breathe. So if you breathe in, you're taking in oxygen, now breathe out. Now you've let out carbon dioxide. All living cells do that, and that's the basis of expiring. They also excrete. Now, excretion is the removal of waste from the bodies of living things. Anything that goes into our body that we don't need gets filtered out. So, here's a checklist of the list that scientists use to determine whether something's alive, and we're going to use this to investigate whether fire is living. First, what's your hypothesis? Is fire living?
No.
Okay, so we're going to do some experiments to check whether your hypothesis is correct.
Okay.
But before we do any experiences in science, we need to make sure that we are safe. So, here's your list of instructions for this experiment. So firstly, for this experiment, I'm going to be the only person to touch the materials. That's just to make sure that you don't get burned or cause any sort of fire damage or anything. And secondly, just going on from that, you're not allowed to pick up any of the candles, put them close to anybody else or any other objects in the house, or play with the matches. So, what's the first thing on your checklist?
Moves.
Move. So, can we see we can see the fire move?
Definitely.
So, beauty, we can check that off on your list. What's next?
Nutrition.
So, nutrition. Fire, in this case, needs the wicks to burn. So the wicks are sort of acting as the nutrition that it needs. So we can tick that one off as well.
Yeah.
Now, do we think it needs oxygen?
Yes.
I'm going to put this lid on one of the candles to cut off its oxygen supply and see if it can just keep burning. Goes out straight away. So it does need oxygen to keep burning. So you can tick that one off as well. What's next?
Water.
Water. What do we think about water?
Well, I think water puts fire out.
Let's check that. You're right. So the water So
it doesn't need water.
it doesn't need water, so that goes against it being living. Now, can fire grow? We know that fire can grow because this is just a little fire, but we can imagine the big bushfires and all that sort of stuff, so we know that fire can grow. So we can tick that one off.
Yep.
What's next on the list?
Cells.
Cells. Sorry. What do you think about cells with fire? It's pretty difficult. So
Seems a bit weird.
it is a bit weird. Fire doesn't have cells actually. We can't get any cells or DNA from a flame. So no, it doesn't have cells and it doesn't have DNA.
Okay. Yep.
Senses? Can it smell and see and hear and taste? No, we know that a fire can't do that. How about if you pinch yourself?
Yep.
Can you feel something?
Yes.
Yep. What about if you pinched a tree? Would that feel something?
No?
No, but we know trees are alive. So trees actually react to senses in a different way. So here's a picture of a tree, of a fern growing around a fence. So the fence is its stimulus and it's reacting to that fence.
Oh yeah.
So we can tell that there's different ways to react for our senses, but fire does not have any senses. Now, can the fire reproduce? If we put the fire out, we saw that the fire doesn't come back to life, does it?
No.
No. So we know that the fire can't reproduce. It can spread by burning on different fuels, but it can't, once it stops, that's it for the fire.
Okay.
So no. What about expiring? A fire can expire. We discovered that it needs oxygen and that when it burns it releases carbon dioxide, which is this smoke just here. So we learned that before that those are the two basic things in order to respire. So it does respire, yes. Can you feel and see the fire and the heat?
Yep.
So that's the gases burning. What's the last thing on your list?
Excretes.
Beauty. So excretion, a fire has no way to filter or release its waste. So we can't really say that it excretes, except for maybe the smoke and the ash that it lets go.
Okay. So maybe cross that.
That's a no for excretion. Okay. For something alive, it has to tick all of the boxes on our list. So how'd you go with your checklist?
Definitely doesn't tick all of them. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. So did it prove your hypothesis that fire is not a living thing?
Yes.
Perfect. Brilliant.